Thanks for being here. I can't believe this actually happened. Honestly, this Liz had a goal of doing some workshops this entire fiscal year. She announced it back in like August and September, and immediately my brain was, we need to get people who grow native plants in the same room with people who have the capacity to buy lots of native plants in Teton County. So we'll continue to talk about that as the day proceeds, but I want to respect people's time and just express appreciation for all of your participation, all your work. Anyone know who this guy is? Show of hands who recognizes this person. Nobody. Okay, yeah, Nick Sirianni. He's the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And in addition to being a lifelong Philadelphia Eagles fan, he got absolutely roasted in his first year as head coach when they were doing very poorly. As far as I know, he's the first head coach in professional sports history to compare his team to a flower. And I remember hearing the press conference while driving. I heard it on the radio. I was in Pennsylvania at the time, and people wanted him fired, dragged out into the street. He caught a lot of flack for this idea, but when he said it, I'm a plant guy, and it resonated because constantly we're trying to explain to people how when you put native seed on the ground, you're not going to see a lot in year 1 or in year 2. And it's the same concept that he's bringing up, that it's this slow, steady, boring, invisible work that's going on beneath the surface that allows you to have this big flush and proliferation and success. And so, since then, they've been to 1 Super Bowl, and they'll be in the Super Bowl next week, so flowers equals Super Bowl. That's my point there. To be more specific, to set some expectations for you, hopefully you got some coffee and some pastries. We're going to have lunch, but first off, I'm going to present to you about some native plant resources, as well as what I have estimated for some local demand, as well as some professional tips that could be helpful to you. I'm going to turn it over to Francis Clark, who's going to speak with us. What is a native plant? Definitions really matter in this realm, in this sphere. And then I'm super excited to have a bunch of presentations, 5 presentations from specialty native plant growers that allow them to show us what they're working on, what they like to do. And then lastly, we're actually going to ask you to do some work. There's only a little public speaking, and it's optional for those who want to do that, but we're going to do a problem-solving activity. And then under the surface, the overall theme is that we hope that today is an opportunity to make new professional contacts, make new friends, whether that's today, tomorrow, next week, or next year. We fully intend to share out a contact list at the conclusion of the event. This segment's called We Like Native Plants a Little Bit, just a little bit. The purpose of this segment is to demonstrate to you a work that we've been doing in our silo so that you're aware of it, and that we're not just all talk. This is just a sample of some stuff we've been working on that pertains to native plants. You may not know that I'm a famous person. Oregon's Nature Notebook is a great YouTube series that you can check out. If you haven't seen it, there's a myriad of episodes related to native plants, so tell a friend about that. If you like Instagram and you don't like doom scrolling, you can search for hashtag native plants in Teton County, and you can see a lot of my posts on native plants, pushing the limits of what you can achieve with mobile photography with fun facts in the caption. Also want to draw your attention to the native plants page of the Teton Conservation District website. This is a living, breathing resource. If there's something you don't see on here you think should be, let us know, and we're happy to get that on there. But first is what we call the original native plant list. So this was created in 2008 by about a dozen partners. It's pretty good. It lists bur oak as native to Teton County, which I think plant people would be fairly dubious of. But for the most part, it does more good than harm. It's a great place to start. Francis is going to go into a deep dive of what we call the Alpha Hyper Pro native plant list. It's way better and it's way more advanced. It's available by request. We'd say it's currently for advanced users only, and the reason is we're working on formatting it to make it more interpretable or accessible, and that work is in progress. We're happy to get that list to you. Francis is going to go in way more detail. Also, a pocket guide to native plants in Teton County, kind of a passion project. I updated the 2010 version with a lot of personal photos, higher resolution photos, as well as habitat descriptions. And this is great for little kids, people of all ages, cute easy to open and hold and see pictures and get familiar. And also, thanks to Liz, we have some jumbo copies, limited supply, limited printed edition. We're asking maybe one per business, one per entity. And so if you're interested, see Liz about that. Also an incredible resource, the Teton County, Wyoming Native Plant Gallery, also a passion project, authored by Phoebe Coburn of Solidago Gardens, formerly of Teton Conservation District. And this is for the people who, we all love spreadsheets, right? Spreadsheets are the best. But when you can't have a spreadsheet, sometimes a picture helps. Certain people understand how tall a plant is, what it looks like, what kind of light regime it prefers. And so this is a Google slide presentation on our website that has 130 different forests, shrubs, and grasses that are commercially available and are native to Teton County. Additionally, shout out to Trevor. Where's Trevor? There's Trevor. And Charlotte. Did Charlotte make it? And Charlotte, authors of the Native Plant Resource Guide. This is a great gateway resource for landowners who are curious in incorporating more native plants into their residential landscape palette. And then lastly, we maintain a list of businesses that sell native plants that are native to Teton County, whether that's in containerized form or seeds. If you're not on here and you want to be, let us know, we'll get you on there. Moving away from the website, other ways Teton Conservation District supports native plants, grants. We've got a number of different grants, number of different ways to apply, but one thing that's been consistent, not a guarantee, but pretty consistent, our board has been supportive of public-facing native plant demonstration gardens. And so the high school, Sage Living, Teton Raptor Center, Jackson Hole Historical Society Museum, Teton Pines, these are just some that they've supported over the last 4 or 5 years. So if you have an idea, we're all ears. Walk and talks is kind of what I call info desk. So if you had a random question about like, what's this plant? Or like, why is this plant doing this to this plant? Is it okay? Should I let it happen? This is an opportunity to meet homeowners on the private properties, walk around, let them point at stuff, take pictures, let them take notes, give them assistance with native plant identification, invasive plant identification, how to control invasive plants mechanically without the use of herbicide, or maybe you do need some herbicide, seed mix recommendations, other reclamation advice. I've been on over 227 properties the last 3 summers. There's a lot of interest in native plants, and this has been a great learning opportunity for me. And some of that learning was to develop and try to incentivize use of native plants in residential landscapes with what we call our conservation planting program. Fairly simple application where a landowner can submit photos, a map, a plan, an idea of what they want to do. We review it. If we approve it, they can go forth, source the plants, put them in the ground, take post-install it, photos, submit receipts, and we'll reimburse them for 50% of their native plant costs, whether seed or containerized, up to $1,000. And we've had 22 people enroll and complete the process since 2022. I'd say about 1 of them was easy. All the others were, okay, I'll write that a different way, or it's been a great learning experience. One of the big ones is we have a great opportunity to provide more native plants for purchase locally. I can't just point these people towards like, look at all these awesome growers that ship. It doesn't work really well. They want to walk down to the local retailers, see the plant, pick them up, or hire somebody that will do it for them. Another awesome program in collaboration with Piney Island Native Plants. Alicia and Dave are both here up front. Both in 2022 and 2024, we ran something called Perennials for Pollinators to address the lack of native plants that we could source locally. In 2022, we sold 2,000 plants that got installed on 30 different properties. In 2024, we upped that to 3,000 plants on 50 properties. And we're looking forward to doing this again in 2025. Native seed, I just want to highlight this. We've developed a lot of sample packs for about 100 square feet. We've handed out hundreds of these things at events. We've done 15 different native seed plots that we continue to track across the valley. We offer, again, advice in design of seed mixes or seeding rates, reclamation advice. This picture here, there's Francis. Francis doing work. This is the Granite Falls parking area reclamation. They did a road demolition, and we need to reclaim it. And so worked with the Forest Service, Friends of the Bridger Teton, the Teton plants, to get a really good dial seed mix and get that in the ground this past fall. And then we've worked with entities like Teton Metal, Wilson Hardware, who reached out, expressed an interest in having a grass mix that's actually native. And it's worth mentioning because there's a lot of products. There's native sod, there's native wildflower mixes that if you actually dig in and look at the species, they're native somewhere, but it's not Teton County. It might not be the kind. And so, like, this is an example of a very popular mix I've seen in multiple places for sale. This is a Wyoming wildflower mix. And the shading here is really, if it's black, it's not native to the state. It might be native. We've got Eurasia, we've got Mexico, we've got Africa, all over the place. Orange is maybe native to the Great Plains or Wyoming. Green is native to Teton County. We have one species, Francis will get into this, Gaillardia is questioned about its nativity to Teton County, but the fact is, this is what's in our retail spaces. And it may not matter to certain folks. This will definitely grow quickly. There's a lot of annuals in here that will flush. People feel like they got a response, but it's not long-lived. It's not serving our pollinator communities. And if we want to, we have some opportunities there. So again, some people like spreadsheets, words, numbers. Some people like pictures. So just to give a visual, these are the 37 native plantings we know about that occurred in 2022. In 2023, an additional 14. These were primarily seed plots, both mixes and straight sowing of individual species. And then in 2024, an additional 64. And my gut tells me that we're going to go up again in 2025. Some pro tips, quickly. PL200 starter plugs. If you haven't heard about them, this is marketing material from Art Wild, based in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. They've been selling, they've been collecting seed, cataloging seed and growing native plants for over 35 years. They've really got a corner on the East Coast. And they're selling this out to compel both installers as well as retailers. You could buy these for about $1 a plug. You could put them in quarts, you could put them in gallons, and then sell that gallon for 25 bucks. And so you can realize some pretty heavy return on investment in the retail space, or you could also cover a much broader area, like 120 square feet with 120 plugs. Small size minimizes transplant shock for quick establishing. This is just one page. I think they have over 300 species. They're tracking which ecoregion seed source is coming from that they have available, depending upon where your property is. People are doing this in other parts of the country, and I think we could do it here over the long term. Pilar just showed me the Prairie Moon catalog. I was like, same wavelength, Pilar. Another great piece of marketing material based out of Winona, Minnesota, in terms of like, don't market the cultivar of the governor, big leaf lupin, midnight surprise, double backflip, luscious red lipstick. Market the package, neighborhood natives, pollinator heroes, finished with a bang. This is where customers are coming from, where they're overwhelmed by the complexity, and if you can package and market in a beautiful format like this, it's going to go a long way. Same as like picking a paint color for like Benjamin Moore, to be able to see color, shape, color, size with the name, give them the ability to mix stuff up. It's just really beautiful. Again, in the realm of managing client expectations, a lot of people want to convert lawns, but they're not ready for it to look like crap for 3 years, And it's like, well, some people would call it crap, but what we call it is root development time. Having a really good visual that makes sense to people, I think this is something we can imagine working with other people on. If someone came to us with an idea, we'd like support for developing native plant marketing materials, we should talk. Another pro tip, the concept, has anyone heard of green mulching? Yeah, some people. So just the concept, you grid up your planting area, you plant plugs of low to mid stature bunch grasses or sedges that are appropriate for your site on 1 foot centers. And then you end up with kind of instant meadow and then this interstitial space where you can put shrubs, plugs of shrubs and wildflowers in. And you've got an environment that's actually hospitable for what perennials want to do, which is set seed and have that seed germinate and take over, as opposed to every year, if you're just blanketing this with mulch. There's beautiful mulch out there, it can be aesthetically pleasing. Mulch is not the greatest place for these perennials to be able to set seed and continue to proliferate. So cool concept, there's definitely some potential there. And then lastly, this is out of Monarch Gardens, Benjamin Vogt, who's based in the Midwest and a big proponent of installing native plants in residential landscapes. This is his recommendation. If you're going to be doing a 1200 plug planting, this is the 50 volt to volt cordless concrete mixing drill. So lower RPMs, but all in with the auger, $550. He says if you're putting in thousands of plugs a year, it pays for itself in about 10 seconds. That seems pretty good. I work with an auger, I believe it. That's a good rig. It does about 600 to 900 plugs on one battery. So those are the pro tips. And with that, send any questions, angry rants, praise. We want to hear from you. That's the hope, is whether or not you believe this is all necessary or worthwhile, or you think it's misguided. I think we want to hear different people's perspectives. So that's what I have. I don't know, Liz, that's 17 minutes.